Welcome again, Aquarius. It's August 2015. I'm Dadhichi Toth from astrology.com.au. Thanks for joining me, and to those of you that are new, welcome. Just talking about the sun sign, Aquarius, and what transits seem to be prevalent this month. It's just a brief synopsis. And what is quite interesting right now for you is the fact that you've got 4 planets in the 7th house, the west of the sun at the time you were born, and the moon full in your sun sign. So this axis, the east-west axis in the horoscope, has a lot to say about your relationships right now. You know, we want to have friends, we want to be liked, but sometimes when you've got such a congestion of energy in one part of the zodiac, it could mean an overemphasis or an overcompensation in that area. It could be that you've got too much on your plate, too many commitments to other people at this point in time. And so the full moon, I think it's on the 4th, will really highlight the power of yourself and the need to give yourself some more energy. The new moon takes place on the 14th in that 7th house. So what it could be, at least for the first half of the month, you'll be contemplating what it is you can do to really balance your life in terms of self as opposed to others. And you know, the new moon is quite renowned for, people turning over a new leaf. And it's at that time, I think, and thereafter, along with some of these other transits I'm going to talk about, that you may decide to shift gears and approach your relationships in a very different way. You've got one of your most favorable planets, the planet Venus there, as I can see it, in retrograde motion. That'll continue up until around the 2nd week of September. Being an exceptionally good planet for you, it's empowered to do good. So I'm not thinking too badly of what's going on here in this 7th house, except for the fact that the inimical Jupiter and Sun are also counteracting the beneficial rays of Venus. So we see here that you may have some pros and cons right now. On balance, I think the Venus is going to give you some really good opportunities. This also has to do with some of the, just excuse me for a moment, some of the incredible business opportunities that you have, because the 7th house has to do with business and finding the right sort of people that you're going to engage with at this time. Now, if we look at some of these important transits, we see straight away on the 3rd, one of your ruling planets, Saturn, moving direct, which means whatever's been holding you back over months and months and months will start to open up and give you a sense of confidence. We see the transit of Mercury, another very friendly planet, moving into your 8th house of shared resources and finances, sexuality and intimacy. That's its best placement, the sign of Virgo. So expect a lot of opening out in this area of your life. If we're talking about relationships, the superficialities of it are probably dealt more with the 7th house issues. But now these planets, Mercury being the first one, moving out of there, indicate this more intimate analysis and delving and sharing, which I think is a good thing for you. Later in the month, we see the Sun moving out on the 24th into that same area as well. Prior to that, on the 9th, we have Mars moving into your 7th house. There could be some problems in relationships around that time. So fortunately, you've got Mercury there, which takes you deeper beneath the surface. So you're not going to, I don't think anyhow, going to be completely in that reactive mode. And of course, too, I mentioned earlier, you've got that new moon there indicating, a reaching out and a reaching in to really mix things up, to change them and take a new course right now. If they say, if you've been using a particular tool or technique and it hasn't worked for you, what's the point of using that again and again? So I think you're coming to that point of change, of transformation, and of really, really solidifying what it is you want in your relationships. We see the quick movement of Mercury out of that 8th house, however, into the 9th house, which is an important point of travel, again, self-discovery, education, and it's a spiritual house. And as well, which a lot of astrologers aren't even aware of, it is the house or sector of past karma. And this is an intellectual planet, so there could be some even greater revelations as Mercury moves out of that 8th house of self-transformation. You may actually be able to put some of this understanding to good use, not just on the emotional and relationship level, but also in terms of your work, your finance, and your professional activities. So all in all, this to me seems like it's shaping up to be a great period for you. The 8th house movement of Jupiter is a bit of a difficult one. That occurs on the 12th, out of this favourable 7th house into the 8th house, again, the transformative house. And that's a much more slow-moving transit that's going to take place over the next 12 months. So, often this happens. You get those flashes of brilliance, those aha moments that would be given by, for example, Mercury moving through there, or the Sun, quick-moving planets, then followed by this, deeper, more expansive Jupiter, which I guess it's just like the fine wine, which over time, sort of matures. So your spirituality will mature over this next 12 months. There is another principle here, that Jupiter, being an enemy of your sun sign, being in one of the most unfavourable places of the zodiac, is also positive by virtue of the negative times negative mathematical principle. So I'm not even too worried about that. For the most part, I think this is shaping up to be a good period for you. Just be careful, as I said, after the 9th, when Mars moves into that 7th house, where that narky sort of energy could cause a bit of a retaliatory approach. But I think not. With all the other positive influences there in the chart, this should be a great month for you. Hope to see you again next month. In the meantime, visit my website, astrology.com.au. We have a more detailed analysis of the month in text, so you can read about it as well as see it here. And your daily and yearly readings are also included. So see you again next month. Take care. Bye-bye.